Our next speaker is Graham Schneider. He is the founder of a company called Channel Enablers, which is now a division of Miller Heiman, the Channel Enablers division. He's the president of the Channel Enablers division, and it's probably fair to say if he is not the world expert, he is one of the 2 or 3 world experts in terms of building capability in organisations that market through channels. So welcome to the Miller Heiman family, and welcome to your first Asia Pacific Miller Heiman Summit, Graham. Clients in over 30 countries that he has personally served over the last 20 odd years. Most imaginable, or most brand names that you know in the information technology industry, Graham and his team have actually trained the channel management people. They use the Channel Enablers, channel management philosophies, processes, tools and methodologies. In short, what he's going to share with us over the next 40 minutes or so is how to go about building a world-class channel team. Ladies and gentlemen, Graham Schneider.
So, good afternoon, everybody. The topic that I'm going to talk about today is the professional development of your channel salespeople. So let's just get a little bit of nomenclature done so we're clear on what I'm talking about. When I say a channel or an indirect sales channel, I could be talking about someone who's a dealer or a distributor or an agent. Could be a broker. Could be one of many different types of, in the technology space, a value-added reseller is a term that's often used. When I talk about a channel manager, I could be talking about someone who's a channel manager, again, an agent manager, a dealer manager, a distributor manager, any name of role. So I'm going to use the word channel manager. What I'm referring to is not somebody that sits inside of one of your channel partners. This is the person who's responsible for managing your channel relationships. And what I'm going to talk about today is what you can do to start to develop a world-class channel team. Why am I talking about this topic? Because this is all I've done for 12 years. I've had the benefit of working all around the world. This is actually my second trip to Sydney only in a couple of years. I've spent much more time in other countries, unfortunately, so I'm very excited about the actual opportunity to be presenting inside of Australia. But this is all I've done, and my team, for the last 12 years, is we have a whole curriculum, we have a whole competency, which I'm going to share with you, and competency was very hotly debated. What is a competency? Earlier on with David, we have a whole competency model, and our focus has predominantly been around with technology companies. Why, you ask? Maybe why did we start with technology companies? Because talking about change, Sam was talking about change earlier on. There's the most change that happens inside of a technology space. So once you try and, if you can satisfy any one segment, right, then the probability is outside of the technology sector, there's probably less change taking place. And so we've had a lot of success going into other markets such as financial services, agricultural products, industrial, test measurement, medical, instrumentation, etc. Because it's my belief, right, that the profession of channel management goes across industries in the same way that the profession of direct sales, enterprise selling, B2B selling goes across industries. Sure, you've got to have the industry expertise, no question. But the skill set is essentially the same. I wouldn't have been invited up here 5 years ago because 5 years ago, if you look at Miller Heiman's data or most of your data, probably 45% of you were only selling through indirect sales channels. If you look at Miller Heiman's data now, it's getting closer to 65% that are selling through indirect sales channels. That number is growing. It doesn't matter whose data you look at, the compound average growth rate for going through indirect versus direct in almost any industry is much faster. If you look at Accenture's data, they're telling you 65% of all sales out there are directly influenced or managed by channel partners. So I want to do another little experiment here again, if I can. So I'm trying to keep the energy going in this room. So I would like you to stand up, right? If, there's an if, see some people are keen, right? I would like you to stand up if today you are using channel partners in any capacity of your business, or you are a channel partner. So the Miller Heiman consultants in the room, you're channel partners to Miller Heiman. So if you're thinking about using them or you are one, please stand up. Okay, so we've got about 2/3 of the room. Sit down 5 years ago, you were using channel partners. So we're starting to get half the room to sit down. So you also represent the same trend. I'm not going to go through all the reasons why this is happening, because I don't have the time available to do that today. There's a lot of economic and customer reasons why this is happening. But what I will do today is cover with you what you can do about it in terms of the professional development of your folks in this particular area. So the question I'm often asked when I talk on this particular topic is what are we looking for here? Why have a channel? Well, one of the things that you've got to think about when having a channel, and we've heard the word behaviour spoken about a lot today. The one difference between a direct sales force and an indirect sales partner is one works for you, one doesn't. But ultimately, you still want to have the ability to be able to influence the behaviour of both. So what you're looking for is better focus, maybe in new markets. You want your partners to invest in new capabilities, those sorts of different things. So you're looking at trying to drive the focus and investment of your partners, right, so they get a return. I think, broadly speaking, you have two options if you have a channel partner on how to drive their behaviour. One is what I call programs. So, when I define a program, what do I mean? It could be a marketing program, a co-op program, it could be spiffs or sales incentives that you give to your channel partners, or maybe the reps inside of your channel partners. And depending on what sector you're in, some industries, certainly in the tech sector, they spend up to 3 or 4% of revenue. It's a contra revenue, so it's not OPEX, but they're spending up to 3 or 4%. It's our experience that about 25% of these programs have no behaviour change and there's no return to the partner. About 40% of these programs give a return to the partner, but there's no behaviour change in the areas that you want them to focus and invest in. So it's a viable strategy, but it's a very high-cost strategy, has a high level of investment involved. The other way that you can really start to influence the behaviour, right, and the investment and the focus is how you engage with your channel partners. So at the simplest level, it's the engagement between your channel manager and the channel partner. In fact, it's more than that. When you think about channel engagement, there's a whole host of different things that need to be present. I'm not going to cover all of those today. There's not the time for it. But, the two areas that I'm choosing to focus on is what are the skills that you need in your people to become better channel managers, and what are some of what I call the most important field processes for them as well to make them highly effective. And so that's where I'm going to focus on. When I talk about partner engagement, I often get asked the question, what does it look like? What are some of the outcomes? What does it feel like? If you're a channel partner, has anybody here been a channel partner themselves once upon a time? So been a partner of someone else's, right? Right. So one of the things that you will know, having been a channel partner, is that often you feel like your vendor, your supplier, your manufacturer, they don't understand you. They don't understand what's important to you. So at the most simplest level, what a successful engagement looks like is you have mutual understanding. And once you have mutual understanding, you have the real opportunity to be able to influence what it is that you would like your partners to do in a way that they want to be influenced. Your goals and your partner's goals can never be alike. They'll never be the same. Simplest example, your goal may be revenue growth. Their goal may be profitability. It's unlikely they're going to want to go revenue growth, with no profit to be generated. So, but the really successful partnerships have this ability to recognise that you do have different goals, and as a consequence of that, recognise the importance to one another and therefore align and put the appropriate resources in place. Other attributes of really successful channel engagement is as a consequence that you've got good understanding and goal alignment, you actually build plans with them. And there's one real big difference between doing, say, account planning if you're in direct sales and account planning in indirect sales, and that is you do something called a joint plan. And I'll talk a bit about planning later on. And so it's an added complexity. So you're not just planning on the channel partner, you're planning with the channel partner as well. There's measurement and reporting is respected. there's enablement and accreditation and training investment, and as a consequence, there's true teaming and communication. I talked about return on investment earlier on. How do you drive the ROI of this partner engagement? What are the things that you should be driving for? Well, first of all, you're driving to get the best partners. If you're in the financial services area, you want the best brokers. If you're in the technology space, you want the best integrators. So it's about getting the best partners. The second outcome is cutting time to revenue. The one thing that I constantly get asked is why does it always take longer to work through an indirect sales channel than it does to work through a direct sales channel? And the simple reason is because they don't work for you and you've got to influence them. But therefore,